Yesterday, I put up a truly lovely 1960 Fender concert. This is a Fender twin reverb from 1968 that remembers how to be lovely. Let's see if we can get it back somewhere closer to where it needs to be. There's a sticky residue all over the twin reverb amp part of this, the label. We're going to see how this cleans up with just a little bit of naphtha on a cloth. Nothing crazy. Nothing abrasive. Just really get it on there and let it sit for a second. Yeah, that's going to come up. I might need to let it soak on a little bit, so we'll revisit this in just a few. As the naphtha sat on there for about 15 minutes, it kind of rehydrated the stuff that was stuck on, and I could tell it was residue from old duct tape. Maybe someone appeared on TV and didn't want to have this appear there. Gaffer tape, people. Gaffer tape, not duct tape. Gaffer tape doesn't leave that residue, but that residue's gone. Now, these silver face panels had a coating which gets easily scratched, so I can't make this look perfect, but it looks a hell of a lot better now. So here you can see the dry, dusty, dirty side as it came in, and the cleaner part over here. Soon, all of this will be as clean as it's possible to get this. Of more concern are that several of the knobs are cracked. This one here has got a fairly deep crack. I hope you can see that. These are not the pre-67s with what we call the Snowman 8s. So these are not the intrinsically valuable knobs from before, but it's still a 68. I will talk to the owner. I will see if I can remove these knobs and clean them and apply some super glue from the back to arrest those cracks. If not, we can get some reproduction Fender knobs for this and just keep these in a bag somewhere. What happens over time is this old plastic, as it dries out, it shrinks, and as it shrinks, it compresses and cracks, and sometimes it's impossible to fix. It just won't take it. We'll see. We'll jump off that bridge when we come to it. Looking on this side, it's got a little bit of that zinc oxide buildup like we had really badly on the 61 Princeton. Nothing too bad. You can maybe see the little white print on my finger. That'll all clean up pretty easy. All the transformers are dated 68. I've removed the screws from the doghouse, but let's see what's inside. No real resistance. Have they been changed? No, they have not. The stuff inside just didn't grab onto the caps long term. There's a bulge there, a bulge there, a bulge there, a bulge there, probably one over here. So this is unsurprisingly going to get recapped. 1968, 2024. It is time. All right, someone's been in here and they did a weird thing. Originally, each one of these output tubes would have had a wire going from the cathode to the ground here at the chassis, here, and here. Someone has removed those wires, but left the old snippets embedded in the badly flown solder, and they've run a wire from cathode to cathode to cathode over to here, which is where the power safety ground is made, which is not at all the code. And here are the taped off connectors, splices from the new power cable to the old. That's a terrible way to do that. So all that's going to get redone. And these grounds made to chassis hardware with the ground lugs using the transformer mounting points, these fail again and again and again and again in these old Fenders. So some point at 65, they started doing this opposed to before when they soldered directly to the chassis. This is one of CBS's cost-saving measures. It held up for many decades, but by now they're not holding up. And I can usually remove that nut, which is usually kind of loose, and then this just is held in place. And it gets dirt and corrosion between the metals. So the grounds deteriorate over time. Someone's changed out the bypass cap there, and someone's removed this little network here of smoothing caps. Maybe this was sold in Canada or something. Anyway, we're just going to leave that in place. It's not going to be part of the finished amp, and we'll redo the bias circuit properly. Speaking of the bias circuit, this originally would have had the output bias matching circuit, and someone's changed it to just a straight bias called black facing AB763. It actually is not that great a thing to do when you can easily take the old circuit with the bias balance and add bias adjustment overall to that as well, global versus local, so to speak. But what's done is done. No need to put everything back just for the sake of it. You can see they've got these big, looks like 3-watt metal oxides on the plates here of the phase inverter. They might be metal films. They look like metal oxides. That's a metal film there, and they've got little 1-watt metal oxides for all the other plates. A couple of orange drops here and there. This was a utility fix. This was a fix to make it keep going rather than maintaining any sense of historical accuracy as far as the tone goes. You can see they left in the original cathode bypass caps, except for the one over here in the tremolo, vibrato. Sorry, Leo. And these need to get changed out. These are common points of failure. And here they've replaced 2 original ceramic disc caps with these film caps. They're fine film caps, but that's not the sound of this era of Fender. And yes, those little things do make a difference. And most of the components that they've changed out were very sloppily done. You see tack soldered joints like this where the lead of the old resistor is still there, and these resistors are just up in the air. And a 68 twin reverb deserves better. I am not seeing anything that's inherently dangerous. I know this amp works. The owner's been playing it, though he says it's noisy. I'm going to power this up and see if I hear anything else, like a bad pod, a bad switch, get a sense of the tubes, etc., etc. This is not going to be a full with voltage diagnosis because I'm going to worry about the actual test for that kind of stuff after all the electrolytics have been changed. But I have a good sense of what needs to be changed to get to that point. So let's set up for that. All right, let's power this thing on in standby. I'm going to edit out a little bit as it warms up. I got a faint hum with all the volumes off and the reverb off. A good but modest glow out of the light bulb limiter. Let's listen to the pots on the normal channel. Everything seems to be working. Let's see what it sounds like with a guitar. That actually sounds very promising. I think we're going to be even better once I'm done, but it's promising now. This amp originally had big JBL speakers. It has a tag on the front of it that says it shipped with JBLs, but it does not have the JBLs now. It has mismatched Fender design speakers, seemingly from the 70s. One of them might be 60s, but they seem to sound okay. The owner provided a new set of speakers. We'll revisit that later, but I think these might be just fine. Let's try the vibrato channel. Let's try the vibrato itself. Really, really weak. Granted, I am blasting it with light, and this is supposed to work best in darkness. So let me cover that up and see if there's a change. Now that's real weak still. Let's try a different driver tube. To all of those who have tissed in my videos when they see me touching a glass tube with my fingers, it's not really a thing. This is not a halogen bulb. Let this tube warm up. All right, so it is not the amount of light hitting it. It is not the tube. It is probably an old resistor in that circuit, or the LDR is not varying with the light change, because I can see the bulb itself is flashing. So I'll come back to that after, when I work in this area, I'll freshen some things up in there, and I can always change out the roach if necessary. But so far, this is pretty much exactly as I expected. All the tubes seem okay, which is good. The amp overall is in great shape. Needs a little bit of TLC, putting things back to how they should have been. Certainly needs a new power cable because that install was just terrible. Needs all the grounds redone properly, get all the plate resistors back to how they ought to be, etc., etc. Changing out films for ceramics as necessary. All the stuff I've outlined. So I don't anticipate this being a ton of work, just a lot of rewarding work, which is a nice place to be. So I'm going to go get a parts list together, get everything this amp needs on order, and when it arrives, wonderful things will happen. Until then, see you next time. Thanks for watching.